how to know if you're ready to automate your warehouse. Here to talk about that today is Michael Fiorito, Senior Sales Executive at Exotec. Welcome, Michael.
Thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
Michael, tell me, how long does it take to get ready to automate a warehouse?
Well, every company, every organization is different in size and scope and the industries that they serve. It can take anywhere from several months up to, 2 or 3 years. It really depends on what the goals of the business happen to be. But there are things to look at, whether that's operational in terms of your organization, whether there's, say, a merger or an acquisition that's bringing another whole business unit into a facility, construction costs, construction schedules, lead times for automation and equipment. All of those things can play into how long it may take to get ready, as well as any of the things that you will end up interrupting operationally or organizationally prior to erecting new equipment, putting in the equipment, programming, integrating, those types of things. Most of the time, you see projects that are probably start about a year's worth of preparation work, about a year's worth of development work, and then maybe another 6 months or so before going live. So, 2 to 3 years is probably a fair assessment.
Wow, that's quite a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm curious about something you said, that is it often the case that some business change, like a merger or a new client, prompts these kinds of decisions?
Yeah, most definitely. Whether that's those types of business scenarios, or as we've seen with the likes of COVID or supply chain interruptions, transportation, and logistics interruptions. Those prompt businesses to really start thinking of how they can future-proof, their operation.
So, Michael, what are some of the key technical requirements that warehouse operators need to keep in mind as they go on this automation journey?
Yeah. I think first is taking a look holistically at what are the technologies that are currently being used in the facility, because whenever you automate, there's always going to be the IT component. How do we integrate this equipment into our overall IT network structure? So those are some of the things that you would look at. Also, facilities. How old is my facility? How new is my facility? What are the power requirements that the automation is going to need? What are the things that will affect the the sign-offs and the certifications that you would need to have a build out or any sort of construction work? It's just like any permitting. Fire suppression systems are very important, especially when you look at things like high density storage or automation with robots and things like that. So, those are a lot of the technical things that I would say that are on the hardware side. On the software side, again, it's going to be the programming. What do we need? What kind of staff are we going to have in terms of experts, in the field of network architecture and managing databases, or just overall supporting this new structure within your organization.
Right. That's really because everybody has legacy IT now,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have to be thinking about how to integrate that. But
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
really interesting that you have to think about how much electricity is going to be required, because
Mm-hmm.
presumably that goes up
Yeah, it does,
with
and
automation.
so it could be, again, it could be electricity, it could be air, if you need airlines and things like that, if any of the items are pneumatic or what have you. So all those are things to take into consideration.
Wow, that's a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it certainly is.
So, Michael, it seems like data analytics are playing an increasingly important role in automation. Can you talk a little bit about how we should be thinking about data analytics and how to use them?
Yeah, I mean, I look at it a couple of different ways. You have to know where you are before you can kind of figure out where you want to go from that point. So, analyzing your successes, failures, things like that as an organization. What are the metrics that you use? Is it based on labor? Is it based on cost? Are raw materials a big part of your business? And so you're trying to make sure that you're keeping those types of costs low. And then it's, on the labor side, how many hours, how many full-time employees are there that are working in an operation, and where is it necessary to redeploy those resources to more value-added types of activities? And in my world, we're constantly looking at lots and lots of data and trying to extrapolate what it is that's going to help affect the business's goal. And that goal could be, again, as we've talked, Is it a merger? Is it the absorption of another facility to a larger facility, or companies that are trying to have more of a hub and spoke type of distribution network? All of those things, you'd want to take a look at all of the data around them, and try and come up with sort of a holistic approach to where do you want to deploy resources, what's going to be most beneficial in the long run, and then again, what is it going to do in 5 or 10 years? How does that look? Because most automation projects are not looked at in a 24-month or 36-month span. They're looked at in 5, 10, 15-year increments, or at least to the point where over the next, say, 5 to 10 years, am I going to have created a new infrastructure that will allow that next growth? What is the, sort of that next sea change? No two clients are the same. No two industries applications are obviously the same, but there's definitely consultants out there. There are tons and tons of referential works and things like that to look at and benchmark, maybe what your business is looking to do amongst their, your peers or what have you. But yeah, it's the analytical part of it is really important.
Right, and one of the key things I imagine is you mentioned benchmarking, to find out where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for people about how to go about doing that?
Oh, geez, I think one of the things that sort of strikes a chord is, again, whether it was a COVID event or things like that, and it's where do you see the benchmarkers in the industry or your peers? Where did they pivot after the last event? Or following social trends has shown, I'll use this as an example. The e-commerce business world as a whole exploded, obviously, during COVID, as well as when you've got all of these influencers who all of a sudden decide that, I don't know, the next thing is something that they've decided that they like, and they happen to have 2 million followers. And so your business has to be able to all of a sudden pivot to fulfilling maybe a significantly higher number of e-commerce orders than maybe your B2B or your regular stock orders to your sites. So, I would say that there's myriad places to look, but always follow follow the trendsetters in any industry.
That's great advice. Thank you so much, Michael.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So now, Michael, could you tell us a little bit about Exotec?
Yes. Exotec is a French company based in Lille. North American headquarters is in Atlanta. We're a robotic goods-to-person solution provider, manufacturing our robots in France. We've got sites all over the world, over 75 live sites, predominantly in retail distribution, apparel distribution, a lot of e-commerce, anywhere that is requiring a very high throughput of a goods-to-person solution to go alongside the rest of their automation.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
We've been speaking about how to know if you're ready to automate your warehouse with Michael Fiorito from Exotec. Thank you for watching.